Hello, everybody, and welcome back to NCAA 2004 in the Alabama Crimson Tide Dynasty mode. And we are continuing on through kind of the middle way part of the season. We don't typically watch a lot of games from this portion of our season because typically these teams in the middle of our schedule are pretty bad. In these older games, the conference schedule does not change. It just stays the same every single year that you do your dynasty. So we always play, Georgia and Ole Miss, Mississippi State during these kind of middle weeks towards the back end, in between Tennessee and stuff like that. And a lot of those teams are hardly ever good. They're hardly ever good. We also typically have our last out-of-conference game in this kind of bunching of games, but I moved that around this season. I put Virginia in Week 15, which we never play Week 15 game, but for this season I threw the Cavaliers in Week 15, so now we have a little bit of space in between our Tennessee game and Mississippi State and all that. So I figured, why not we stop off and watch Ole Miss for old time's sake. We haven't watched an Ole Miss game, and I meant to check the series and see exactly when, but guys, if I could guess, I think year 3 or 4 might have been the last Ole Miss game we watched. Just about. It's been a while. The Rebels have not been a good team at all. I didn't even bother looking up the records and stuff. I think they've had a few over 500 seasons, and literally by over 500 I mean just over 500, 7-6. Losing the bowl game, 7-6 type of seasons. Maybe 8-win seasons here and there, but they've mostly been pretty bad. They've been middling to bad. That's kind of been their thing. So that's what the Rebels have brought to the SEC. They have not been on the worst end like Florida, Mississippi State, and Kentucky have been, but they've still been pretty terrible in their own right. But a weird thing to note about Ole Miss here, as you're seeing, as their quarterback fumbles the football, and we're going to recover it early in the game here. But a weird thing to note about Ole Miss's quarterback, who just turned the ball over, he is a 4-year starter. It's a very rare situation in which the quarterback we are up against, or even a quarterback in the game period, including our own quarterbacks, has been a starter for all 4 years for the school. So, yeah, Ole Miss's quarterback, who, again, had the fumble, Johnny Martin, ironically is number 10, Eli Manning. It just funny to note. I think even in real life, this is before Ole Miss would retire Eli's number, because I think they didn't retire his number until he retired from the NFL, if I'm correct. I don't know. I can't remember exactly. I want to say it was post-COVID, but time just blends together. It's not real anymore. But anyway, Johnny Morton here for Ole Miss has over 10,000 career yards. But the crazier thing here is a career touchdown INT ratio of 57 to 68. Now make that 69 as he throws another interception to Deion Moultrie, who gets himself another interception in his career. So Ole Miss now offense already struggling to protect the football, and we are wasting no time to move the football as Bishop is able to fire that one in the middle of the field here. I can't see exactly who the receiver was. I mean, we can guess, and it looks like it might have been Dalton or May here looking over the notes. You got to check the notes, and it was Geno Dalton here who gets that one. But on a few plays later here, Bishop's going to keep it himself. Did you guys see that burst of speed? That dude put it into third gear. He just completely. I mean, I think we're going to get a replay, but he completely put it into overdrive. Look at this, dude. Just complete burst of speed. There was no threat whatsoever from the Ole Miss defense. Well, I mean, there kind of was, but not really. But either way, it's 14-0 now here in the first quarter, and Ole Miss now back on the ground here. And now the running backs are going to get loose here. Huge spin move, man. Completely throwing the safety out of his shoes here as Chandler Williams is getting busy here. He's got over 600 yards on the year, and that's touchdown number 7 for Mr. Chandler Williams, as that spin move completely threw Marvin Thompson, the strong safety, out of his shoes. I mean, look at that, dude. Just completely, perfectly executed by Williams. Completely, perfectly executed. And then on top of that, he's just going to blow over Lance Hunt, man. What happened to our defense on that play? That was disgusting. But Ole Miss does answer back. So after all the mistakes that the Ole Miss offense had here, it is only a 7-point game entering the second quarter. But we are back on offense across midfield, and Bishop lays one out here towards the right side of the field. And that pass is going to be completed along the sideline. It's going to be another humongous pickup through the air for the Crimson Tide offense as we are now inside the 15. But it's 3rd and 12. We are moving backwards. Got to get into the end zone at least here. And Bishop lays one out here again to that back corner of the end zone. It's Geno Dalton coming down with another touchdown on the season. And that is going to be touchdown number 3 for Geno Dalton here. We haven't had a lot of inspiring numbers from receiving corps, but it is pretty deep here with freshmen. That's a weird thing. It's almost oxymoronic to say it's deep with freshmen, but they've all been pretty effective here. But what's not effective here is Ole Miss's passing game, as now they go for a halfback pass with Chandler Williams, and he absolutely lays a dime to the defense, throws it to the wrong team, the wrong shade of red. which is inexcusable since we're mostly wearing white. So I like when these plays happen, and when they work, they're really cool, but that time it did not work, as Williams was able to find John Mosley just standing there waiting for an interception, and he gets one. So up 21-7, still here. Now we're going to try and capitalize, and Ole Miss's secondary finally bails out their offense after all these turnovers. They finally get a stop of the Crimson Tide offense, so we're going to have to rely here on the kicking team on a 4th and 9. A long 4th and 9 here. We're going to see if Marvin Haston can get this one through, and he does. So the freshman continues his reign of terror in this season, in what is our last season, but it is his first season. So he's doing very well. 24-7 now the score here. Plenty of time for Ole Miss to at least get something on the board. It would only be a 10-point game if they managed to score, and wants it all down the field here. A complete prayer of a ball from Johnny Martin, and that is absolutely going nowhere. Well, it's not going nowhere. It's actually going to our hands. It's going into the defense's hand as Dan Moultrie gets another interception in this game. That's his second of the game here, and our fourth turnover. It might be the 4th pick. I've already lost track of the picks. But now we're moving with the hurry up here as we are under 30 seconds in the first half. We don't really need to move with that much purpose here, but Sick Naven wants to take it to the SEC competition. Well, because we know he's an absolute sicko when it comes to that. He is just an absolute sicko. But thanks to the backup tight end here, we're close now, within 5 yards of the line to gain, under 10 seconds. Bishop going to get another snap off here. Can he get rid of it before the time expires? And along the sideline again, it's going to be the backup tight end. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Harvey Patton, man, backup tight end with two big receptions, back-to-back plays, and that gives enough time for Haston to come out and at least get us 3 more points before the half comes to a close. Now we're going to extend to a 20-point lead over the Ole Miss Rebels after 1 half of play, and you can already kind of imagine what direction this game is going to continue to go for Ole Miss as we continue moving right along. So already now we have the ball back in at the second half. Bishop rolling out into the pressure. Not a good rollout, but he does find Reeves, who hauls this one in here, and he's going to have the ball inside the 15. So another good reception for your Crimson Tide, and we are now set up once again in scoring range here in the red zone. So Bishop back to pass once again. Very clean pocket, and he throws it wide open. Who left him that open? Who on earth thought it'd be okay to leave Carlton May that wide open? As Carlton May gets his 4th touchdown of the season here, completely wide open in the end zone. That was just a complete breakdown defensively. And now here's a complete breakdown offensively as Ole Miss with another turnover, trying to run the option here. Not a clean lane to pitch, but pitched it anyway. And I think that was Martin once again making another mistake. So, as I said, he had a career split of 57-69, I think, which is now over 70 interceptions in his career. I don't know what the school record is for Ole Miss, but the dude is turnover prone, to say the least. He's completely turnover prone. I feel like that'd be our reality if we started Dre Gates for all 4 seasons, but either way. But we have another beautiful, beautiful pass, man. Beautiful, beautiful pass. Hopefully we get another look at it, because that was a beautiful from downtown type of throw here. And who was that too? It showed Stanley, the running back. Was that him? And it was, man. We get it to the running back. So Ole Miss, 2 complete breakdowns in coverage on the last 2 receptions here. We would add a couple more touchdowns. Ole Miss wouldn't do anything other than just screw up a little bit more. So I would just fast forward to the end of this video. I was going to add the LSU game too, but I didn't have it. I didn't have the files in the right spot, and I was just trying to get this video done. But there's also a lot of stuff going on around college football that we were going to need to look at following this game. So that was also the other reason why I wanted to keep this as one episode, because there's a lot of big developments around all of college football in the weeks that ensue following this game as well as this game. So, but taking a look at the stats here as if you really needed to, but Ole Miss completely smothered by the Crimson Tide defense, something that we've been doing to lesser opponents all season long, been looking pretty strong. I mean, we've really been doing it since last year too. Our defense is starting to play a little bit better, so normally I'm very much used to things kind of just, I don't want to say spiraling, but just high-scoring affairs and stuff like that, and getting wins, but not really relying much on defensive performances, but our defense performed very, very well. And as you can see, backup quarterback Sanders gets in for a little bit of action here towards the end of the game, but still, it is the Matt Bishop show, so he has himself a pretty solid game. Completion percentage is shockingly low with how well we did, but no turnovers and over 200 yards, so we will happily take that. And kind of an interesting look here as the backup running back comes in and really kind of dazzles in his limited time here. He comes in and absolutely shows that maybe there's a reason to come back for another season, but we're not. So maybe his future will be left up to the sim. Whatever the game decides, man, that's his future. So But here we are back now in the hub, looking at the results across college football. Air Force gets a humongous victory over the Colorado State Rams. Perhaps the changing of the guard in the Mountain West is starting to happen as Colorado State starting to, like Southern Miss, pick up a couple losses during the year that they wouldn't normally pick up. So maybe their national title window has closed and Air Force has opened theirs. Also, big news here. Penn State, the Nittany Lions, hand Notre Dame their first loss, and Notre Dame's season potentially coming to an end here. Most likely is. They don't have a conference or anything, so that's probably going to end their season here pretty late on into the season, and they drop all the way to number 10 as Penn State picks up a humongous win. The Buckeyes, who are currently at number 2, survive in the shoe against Iowa. Now, a couple years ago, we saw Iowa complete this upset, but the Buckeyes managed to hang on and stay at number 2, and right now it is just us and them, neck and neck right now in the rankings. This doesn't have huge implications on the national title game, but West Virginia keeping their season alive here with a huge win over Virginia Tech in this rivalry. Really huge. I mean, 48-17, a big blowout over the Hokies. West Virginia ranked 5th, so they do have an outside chance here. They need a lot to go their way, though. But Iowa does complete the upset here in Iowa City at Kinnick Stadium over Penn State as they hand the Nittany Lions their second loss of the season. So just as Penn State was starting to build some momentum, beating Notre Dame, they could immediately follow it up with a big loss to the Hawkeyes on the road. But Penn State would get back right, heading all the way back to Happy Valley and upset the Buckeyes, who cannot survive the road trip here. The offense completely stifled. This is a classic Big Ten game here, and so the Big Ten cannibalism has completely removed any chance that a Big Ten team will make it to the national title game this season, unfortunately, as teams are going back and forth. And the biggest one here, now TCU slotting into that number 2 spot, barely escapes against the Louisville Cardinals as both offenses completely silenced, but TCU keeps their 39-game win streak alive as they manage to survive against the Louisville Cardinals. The Conference USA is just turning into a bloodbath, much like the Mountain West has turned into a bloodbath. So a lot of big results here happening around college football. And then, of course, the big SEC game of the season. South Carolina goes on the road to Fayetteville and beats Arkansas. And Arkansas, again, just picking up those losses, but still only 8-2, so they're having a great season. Just, the two biggest teams they've played, they have not been able to win. So they can't win the big one, apparently. But South Carolina now mounting themselves a pretty decent season as well. And then coming back from the hub, a very close game with Tennessee, shockingly. They're not very good this season, so we didn't watch it, but it is a close game, so they kept it close. But we do blow out Mississippi State again, who's got 3 wins, which I think at this mark is the highest they've had in a decade. I think they always have 1 or 0 wins whenever we play that game. So, but in the next video, we will of course be looking at LSU for the last time. Since it is the last season, I'm dragging it out a little bit, trying to focus on some games that we don't normally focus on. So we will be looking at this rivalry with the LSU Tigers one more time before we get on out of here into all the postseason fun, like the SEC title game and so on. So hope to see you guys back in Tuscaloosa when we play LSU for one last time.